Today on Public Eye News, Michigan Tech received $5.4 million in federal funding to support research. Later, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson announces her bid for the governor's office.
Toby Camilli will have the weather forecast for the next couple days, and Austin Graham will bring you today's sports breakdown. I'm Luke Middle.
And I'm Bianca Kroll, and this is Public Eye News. Tuesday night, the Michigan State Police of the Calumet Post responded to the M26 crash. This crash was in Osceola Township, which reported that it was a two-vehicle personal injury crash. Investigation shows that a southbound pickup truck lost control and slid into the center line. The truck struck a northbound pickup truck with a plow. When both vehicles made contact, the southbound pickup truck was split into two pieces. The driver of the southbound truck and driver along with passenger of the northbound pickup truck were both transported to the UP Health Systems Portage by Mercy EMS. The Michigan State Police were assisted by Houghton County Sheriff's Department and Hancock City Police Department. At this moment, alcohol is believed to be a factor in the incident, but is still under investigation. Feeling a chill in the air? Chances are so are your animals. The Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development have reminders on the best ways to keep your animals from freezing in these frigid temperatures. State veterinarian Nora Wineland said that while every animal is different, some animals that are young, elderly, short-coated, and that have underlying health conditions could be more vulnerable to cold temperatures. Wineland said it's best to work with your veterinarian to know what your animal can take for the cold weather. Here are 5 easy tips to keep your animals warm. Keep them indoors as much as possible and limit time outside. Move water bowls inside to keep animals hydrated, check paws for injury, give animals more food to maintain body heat, and clean up any antifreeze spills as it's extremely hazardous to animals.
Michigan Tech has announced that the university has entered into a $5.4 million cooperative agreement with the National Institutes of Standard and Technology as part of their research program. The Professional Research Experience program will benefit undergraduate and graduate students along with faculty. The main goal of the program is providing assistance for laboratories through financial aid. With the official agreement, MTU becomes just the 17th university in the country to become an NIST prep-backed school and the only institution with that backing in the state of Michigan. In early October 2025, Michigan Tech plans to attend an NIST conference in Gaithersburg, Maryland, where students and members of the prep team will showcase their research. And the Marquette Sawyer Regional Airport requested approval for a pre-fund of 2 passenger boarding bridges. The staff of the MSRA requested a total of approximately $2.5 million, citing that the current PBBs are at the end of their life, as well as airport layout planning work. If approved, a final application submission will go out to the FAA later this spring. In total, the design agreement cost will bill at just south of $270,000, with funding coming mostly from the federal side. In total, $242,000 will be footed by the government, while $13,500 is covered by the state, and the final $13,500 will be delegated locally. The staff recommended and requested the funding at a Marquette County Board meeting last week. And the Palisades Fire Public Works crew in California are in a race against time to get ready for possible rain this weekend. KCAL News reporter Jeff Wynn is in Pacific Palisades with a look at the preparation.
As night falls again on the burn scars of the Palisades fire, Caitlin Kuchma is racing against time, clearing out her Pacific Palisades home with rain in the forecast for this weekend.
The number one reason why we're so urgent today is because of the rain.
Her home didn't burn, but she's concerned about the hillsides around her giving way, like what we saw at this home that survived the flames last week. On Tuesday, LA Mayor Karen Bass met with first responders and crews who are clearing away debris. She issued an executive order to protect the water supply and prevent fire-contaminated runoff from flowing into the ocean.
This firestorm left behind serious health and environmental impacts.
Crews have been installing barriers to shore up hillsides and roads.
Burn scars don't absorb water at a normal rate. They simply add to the risk of floods, landslides, and debris flow.
DWP workers have been going nonstop trying to remove and repair damaged power lines and poles.
Here's the deepest reaches.
Mitch Seeley was able to get back into his home briefly to grab his surfboards that survived the flames that destroyed his apartment complex right across the street from a fire station.
Having these back is just like one step closer to recovery, I guess.
But for Caitlin Kuchma, there's been frustration with a long process to get back into her home to start rebuilding her life, which city leaders say is tied to the cleanup process.
They're just leaving us in limbo, and limbo is so much worse because it inhibits our ability to make decisions on where we're going. Do I go out of state to stay with family, which is cheaper for me, or do I spend more money on a hotel because in a few days it's going to open up?
Now don't touch that dial. We'll be back with your weather and statewide news after this break.
At 7 p.m. when doors open at the Moody, people start filing in.
There's just something about walking up those stairs and opening those big, heavy doors.
Get to be up close and personal to some of the biggest artists in a very intimate, historic setting.
It's so iconic, the backdrop.
That excitement in the crowd starts happening. Here I am 15 feet from an artist that I really admire.
I swear, he looked right at me.
My dad's like super into it, which means I'm getting super into it.
Wonderful music and the coolest vibe around.
Welcome to your Public Eye Weather Report. I'm your host, Toby Camilli. Looking at our sky cam today, we can see snowy conditions with some clouds, very cold conditions. And looking across the UP, in Houghton it is 13 degrees and cloudy. Ironwood is 17 degrees and snowy. Iron Mountain and Menominee are 14 degrees and cloudy. And Escanaba is 13 degrees and snowy. Moving across to the east side of the UP, in Manistee, it is 12 degrees and snowy. Sault Ste. Marie is 13 degrees and snowy. And Marquette is 11 degrees and cloudy. And looking into the conditions, the winds are south-southwest at 12 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure is 29.89 inches and falling. Tonight, the low will be 18 degrees. The winds will be west at 10 miles per hour, and it will be cloudy with a waning crescent. Tomorrow we are looking at more cloudy conditions, a high of 15 degrees and a low of 3, and the winds will be northwest at 18 miles per hour. Looking into the weekend, on Friday we will have a high of 18 and a low of 13, and it will be mostly sunny. Looking into Saturday, we're looking at a high of 30 and a low of 14 with partly cloudy conditions. And Sunday, we will have a high of 22 and a low of 20 with cloudy conditions. That's all I have for weather. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Toby, for that weather report. I'm definitely looking forward to these higher temperatures. Now moving into our statewide news. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson has announced that she will run for governor in 2026. Benson had gained recognition after defending the results of the 2020 election, which were questioned repeatedly by Trump and his allies. She said people were not happy about the election, and footage was shown of protesters at her house in December 2020 who were angry over her words about the election. Benson's re-election in 2022 was popular in Michigan as it was an overwhelming wave of Democratic wins. This year was also a huge win as many women were voted into the state legislature, legislative leadership, and executive leadership. Her time as secretary, she has focused on educating the public about the voting process in Michigan. Benson plans to have her campaign as an all-female leadership team. Attorneys general in 22 states, including Michigan, have sued to block President Donald Trump's recent executive order. Trump issued a roughly 700-word executive order that would end the immigration practice known as birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship is given to any child who is born in the U.S. regardless of their parents' immigration status. Democratic attorneys general and immigration rights advocates have said this is a settled law, and while presidents have authority, they are not kings. New Jersey Attorney General Matt Plinkett said, quote, "The president cannot, with the stroke of a pen, write the 14th Amendment out of existence, period," end quote. The White House has prepared to face the states in court, but called the lawsuits nothing more than the left's resistance. President Donald Trump is moving quickly to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. Plus, CBS News has learned his administration has canceled all refugee travel to the United States until further notice. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington, D.C.
In a new memo obtained by CBS News, the Trump administration has instructed federal agencies to cancel any diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and close DEI offices. By 5 o'clock today, all employees working in those roles are to be notified that they will be placed on paid leave as the administration seeks to shut down DEI programs.
Our country is going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it?
The administration says targeted immigration enforcement operations are also underway nationwide, though President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, didn't give specifics.
ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
As part of new, tougher measures, the administration has revoked a Biden-era policy prohibiting ICE agents from making arrests at sensitive locations like schools or churches.
We understand that people are scared. We understand that people are frightened because Donald Trump, with the support of House Republicans, have now said this is within bounds.
And CBS News has learned the State Department has canceled all refugee travel to the U.S. until further notice. For now, this does not affect special immigrant visa holders who assisted U.S. military forces. The group Global Refuge calls the change devastating. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
And stick right there. After this short break, Austin's going to have a sports report you won't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Tune in to the heartbeat of the Upper Peninsula. At Public Radio 90, we're more than just a frequency on your dial. We're your trusted home for national public radio. Let our diverse blend of music be the soundtrack to your day. Public Radio 90, where community comes alive. Tune in and let your imagination soar. Join Nicole Walton every weekday morning from 6 to 9 with Morning Edition.
Welcome back. I'm Austin Graham here with your first Public Eye Sports Report of 2025. And we are starting off with some breaking NFL news. The New York Jets are hiring Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn as their new head coach. The move comes just 4 days after the Lions' stunning playoff loss to the Washington Commanders and 1 day after the Chicago Bears hired Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as their new head coach. Before getting into coaching, Glenn played 8 seasons for the Jets as a cornerback, receiving 2 bids to the Pro Bowl. After playing 15 seasons in the NFL, Glenn returned to the league as a coach. Now for the Lions, head coach Dan Campbell will have to fill the huge void left by both Johnson and Glenn's departures. Tossing things over to hockey, the Detroit Red Wings fell to the Philadelphia Flyers in overtime, extending Detroit's losing streak to 3 games. Joel Farabee opened the scoring in the second period for Philly, sending a backhander past Alex Lyon. The Wings responded early on in the third with a wrister courtesy of Ben Sherratt to knot things up 1 goal apiece. In overtime, Rasmus Ristolainen poked the puck into the net off a pass from Farabee to secure the win for Philly. The Wings have now lost 4 of their last 5 and will look to get back on track when they host the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night. And finally, ending things in the NBA, the Detroit Pistons are in Atlanta tonight to take on the Hawks. The Pistons are looking for their 4th straight road win as they are fresh off a 107-96 victory over the Houston Rockets. Cade Cunningham has been leading the way for Detroit this season, averaging 24.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 9.3 assists per game. Atlanta sits in 6th place in the Eastern Conference with Detroit right behind them in 7th place. The matchup should be very entertaining to say the least, as the Pistons got the edge over the Hawks during their last meeting on November 8th, winning 122-121. Tip-off for tonight is set for 7:30. That's all I got for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you for that sports update, Austin. Bianca, been a tough couple of days for the Lions. First you lose to the Commanders, then you lose both your best coordinators.
I can't believe it. I thought we had it in for us. I thought we could do it.
I know, I really thought this was the year, but injuries and just kind of bad luck of the draw. You think they're going to be back next year?
I think they could do it. I think they had some good confidence this year that they'll probably bring that confidence back up and try all over again.
Oh yeah, definitely going to reload if they have a good draft and just keep it going.
That's all the time we have at Public Eye News. I'm Bianca Kroll.
And I'm Luke Middle.
We'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.